What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this, we have 7 lies Americans believe about life in the UK. Very excited to jump into this and see what we got here. See if there's anything that I haven't heard yet. Before we dive in, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. I will include her channel as well as this video down in the description. So make sure y'all go check her out. I've seen a couple of her videos. Absolutely love them. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Let's get right to it.
7 lies Americans believe about life in the UK. It's not that they're in love with queues. Most Americans that are watching this don't even know what the hell a queue is.
It's a lie. It's a lie.
Please know that everything you think that you know about Britain is completely wrong. Well, okay, not everything, but there are 7 myths Americans like to spread as if they're gospel about British culture, and I'm here to debunk every single one of them. Number 1, everyone drinks tea all day long. Okay, so the reality is this is kind of true. There is a lot of tea drinking that happens here in the UK by far, and there are those who drink many, many cups of tea a day, but there's also a bunch of British people that actually don't drink tea at all, and some who would prefer coffee. I know, it's kind of weird and unusual from an American's point of view. They also drink these juices. They're kind of like flavored water. They're called squash and ribena, and they're like unconcentrated juices that you pour into a glass of water. A lot of people drink stuff like that as well. The whole tea thing here isn't necessarily about the fact that they drink it so much. It's that it's more of a lifestyle and a habit for them. It's more about the ritual and the taking time to just think things through a little bit and just taking time to relax and reflect. So it's not that the tea culture isn't prevalent here. It's just that it's not everybody. It's not just tea, and it's not all day long. Myth number 2. Brits.
I feel that. When I think of the British tea culture, I ain't gonna lie. I be seeing so many videos. I do be thinking y'all do be drinking tea. I wouldn't say all day, but it feel like in the mornings and tea time, like y'all be on y'all tea. For sure. That's what it seems like to me from watching videos. But I love the fact that you guys, you said it's just like it's a habit of just kind of slowing down, just kind of relaxing, like just taking a break throughout the day. And I absolutely love that because there's so many times in life where we're just go, 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 go. And everything just gets hectic and you get stressed and everything just building up. So I'm sure that little tea break every day, like just taking time out to sit back, enjoy a cup of tea and take a break. I'm sure that's absolutely recharging for you guys. Fulfilling, refilling your battery. However, there's not a word that I can think of, and there is a word, but I just can't think of it. Anyways, number 2, let's go.
Love queues. If you're American, means lines, waiting in line, basically. It's not really that they love queues. It's that British people are extremely polite and very aware of public spaces. The queuing thing is part of all of that. It's basically, why are you not waiting your turn? Why do you think you're special? Why do you think that you get to go first when we've already been waiting online? It's more about them just being organized and polite. Politeness, I think, is more something that British people love and is in their DNA, more so than queues. They don't necessarily enjoy it. It's not something that they're super gung-ho and hyped about or anything. It's just that you queue, you wait in line, and you don't try to cut the line. And if you do, you are very apologetic and aware of it, and you make your way back to the back of the line immediately. You will get called out on this, and it won't be fun. Myth number 3. It's constant.
I would say nobody just likes waiting in a line. Like, I'm sure, right? Everybody wish they could just go and just be at the front of the line immediately. Like, nobody likes waiting. But I think the British just appreciate the organization, like she said, in a sense where it could be chaos. You feel me? You could have where we don't know where the line is. We don't know who's supposed to be helped next. We don't know when it's going to be our turn. Like, I think that you appreciate the organization of, okay, I know how many people are in front of me. I know about how long it's going to take for me to get to the front. Nobody's going to be cutting in line. None of that's going to happen. So you appreciate the organization and structure of the queue. I completely get that.
Myth number 3. It's constantly raining. Yes, it rains a lot more than it did in New Jersey, but it's not really apocalyptic rain. So in New Jersey, we used to have a lot of severe weather patterns, right? It would rain and it would rain for 3 days and it'd be very heavy, soaking, flooding kind of rain. And then it would
Oh,
be really sunny and hot for 3 days. And then it
oh,
might rain again for another day or two. Here in the UK, the weather patterns change so rapidly, pretty much throughout the day. Like the morning is going to be different from lunchtime, is going to be different from afternoon
oh.
and evening commutes. But because it changes so quickly, it's usually not really heavy rain. There are periods of heavy rain, especially now in the we're going into a wetter season in the fall/autumn and going into the winter season. But most of the time, I think it's that like misty kind of damp feeling. That's why I think people think it always rains here in the UK. It's usually just gentle drizzle. It's never ever a perpetual flood, which is much more common where I'm from in the US. Number 4, all houses look like castles.
Yeah, dang. New Jersey. I've never been to New Jersey before. We do get like there are certain times where it rains a ton. It feels like the sky just fell out. But I think for the most part, I do enjoy not going through so many weather changes in a day. I enjoy right for the most part. If it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. If it's gonna be sunny, it's gonna be sunny. Because I feel like that way I could plan to do things easier in a sense, right, without having to worry about the weather. Um, but I like the sunshine. Give me the sunshine where I can go outside. I can play some basketball. I can go to a park. I can chill. Now I'm not gonna be in that heat all day. Don't get me wrong, but I will enjoy it for a little bit.
This was one that even before I met my partner, I never really understood because, like, there's no possible way everyone could live in an estate home or a castle, right? And American homes are huge compared to the average equivalent here in the UK.
Yeah,
So I never really understood why they always seem to think that's what they looked like. You get a big house in America, it's the dream house. You get the big manicured lawn with the extra bedrooms and fireplaces and dining rooms that you don't even use. The reality in the UK is homes are much smaller. Maybe you get a closet, and maybe you get a small patch of grass. But they call it a garden because it kind of is only big enough for, to be honest. But they're not castles, guys. They do have the old, I mean, where I am anyway, most of them are Victorian looking and definitely something out of like Mary Poppins look. But you're never going to get the square footage that you get in the US by any means. You're going to be very lucky to have a yard. Really, people just make the most of the space that they have. Even though it is tiny, you do get a sense that you're in kind of a medieval, mythical kind of story. And I know that's like an ideological idea of from an American point of view, but I can't help it. But the good thing about living here is even though your home's maybe a little bit tinier, there are castles and estate homes everywhere. Absolutely. Go and explore to your heart's content. Just don't expect to live in one. Myth number 5.
yeah. I see the beauty of freaking British castles and estates and all these things. Just so many buildings that are built. The architecture is just gorgeous. It's so different than modern buildings today here in the U.S. Now I feel like I have a decent sized home. It's plenty big enough for my family. I will say that. When I was younger, I dreamed of having a huge home. But now that I'm older and understand the responsibilities that come with the home, I wouldn't even be able to clean it all. Like I wouldn't be able to take care of it. So the home that I'm in right now is pretty good size for my family. But yeah, I have seen also the smaller homes. In the UK, you're going to have smaller homes just in a sense because it's a smaller country. Like the US is a giant country compared to the UK, and so in the UK you have smaller homes. But I don't think one way is better than the other. I just think that's just how the countries are built in a sense. They're just a little bit
Everyone
different.
drives on the left, and it's impossible. Okay.
Mm,
This one, I have to admit, completely intimidated me for a really long time, especially because the first time I tried driving, like officially, when we first moved here, I sideswiped a brick wall and it definitely damaged our bumper and everything. I was completely
Ooh,
mortified.
I bet.
And I was very disenfranchised with driving after that for a long time. And it still does intimidate me a bit, but it is manageable. I
Mhm.
get the scariness of roundabouts. I get the scariness of trying to parallel park. Trust me, I failed it in my US driving test.
I
Once you
feel
get the hang of it, like once you get over that initial obstacle, it's an easier adjustment than a lot of Americans realize. The real challenge for me is the narrow country roads, pedestrians who will glare at you if you're not polite and wave back, and definitely trying to find parking where you're not going to hit any cars or the curb or hold up traffic for longer than a few minutes. Those seem to be my weaknesses. Those are more intimidating to me than actually driving on the left side of the road.
okay.
Life is cheap.
And I absolutely get that. I feel like driving on the left side it just be an adjustment, but you'd adjust. Like you just get used to driving on the left. Now I think the roads being like smaller from what I've seen in certain places, and I'll be like, bro, how can this be a two-way road? Like it's big enough for one car, so I don't know. But yeah, that would be more scary for me, like she said. And I can imagine the embarrassment of, yeah, hitting that brick wall. Um, but when you're used to driving in the US, you're used to having like so much space on these roads. They're so big designed for big cars. So it's easier to maneuver around, I think. And you're going to have to be a lot better of a driver in a sense in the UK. And yeah, we're not used to the roundabouts and all that.
This is a little bit about perspective, and I'm not going to lie to you guys because, in my experience, it is much cheaper to live here in the UK overall, as far as cost
I,
of living is concerned, as
I
far as
would.
food, as far as clothing, as far
Mhm.
as things to do. All of that is much, much cheaper than the cost of living in the US. Of course, the housing is a huge exception because there's space is at a premium. And if you want space, you're going to pay for it. That's what it's like living on an island. And it is a little bit unnerving for me as an American, especially because I'm quite cheap just overall. But
I feel
I
you.
just deal with it because the trade-off for me is free healthcare, decent
Mm.
public transport, better work-life balance, and the American dream that I was not able to find when I was living in the US. So sometimes you pay a little bit more, but you live a little bit better. So for me,
Oh,
it works.
there you
But to
go.
say that life in the UK is cheap or not rich, I just don't see it. It's full of culture and it's so rich and ripe with activities and history. There's always something to do. So cheap is, I guess, a frame of mind. I guess that's where we land on this one. Myth number 7. All
I get that. Yeah, cost of living in the U.S. Man, it just feels like it's getting so expensive here, bro. And I don't know if it feels the same in the UK, but the prices just rise and they rise and they rise and they rise and they rise, and our wages just don't, and they don't, and they don't, and they don't, and so it starts to feel impossible. It starts to feel impossible to survive. Like it's tough. It's not easy, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I don't know what it's like. Like I said, I don't know what it's like in the UK, what the cost of living looks like. And here, for my family of three, now don't get me wrong, we ain't living like as tight as we could. We definitely could tighten the belt on so many different things. But for us, in the house that we live in and everything, it probably costs us about $4,000 a month. Um, Now, if we tightened everything and stopped eating out and we budgeted smart and everything, looking at our bills, we could get that probably down to 3,000, unless we moved houses where we could get it down lower. But we need space, so we could get it down to 3,000 a month. But yeah, see, it's still it's tough out here. It's rough out here.
Brits are polite, sweet, and proper. Yes, it is true that British people are very polite. They like to smile, they will queue, and they will definitely apologize to you if they run into you or if they feel they've slighted you in any way, even if it was your fault. But you have to remember the key thing about British culture overall. Sarcasm runs much deeper than the Thames does. Ask a Brit for directions. Of course, they will help you along, but they will probably make some kind of underhanded remark about you being some silly American who doesn't know where they're going. Or something about like no Americans or tourists know what to do outside of London, that kind of thing. I've heard that before as well. Take it in stride. They don't really mean it. Trust me, if they're insulting you, you're gonna know they're insulting you. The British sarcasm and the British humor, I feel, are quintessential British culture, and I absolutely adore it as an American living here. And I've even come to convey a turn of phrase or two in my time living here. So British people are polite and sweet and proper, but usually if they're polite and sweet and proper, they either don't know you or they don't like you. When they start being unpolite, not as sweet and not as proper, that's when you know you've made a real connection. Overall, the truth about living in the UK is really a balance between disappointment and utter freaking delight. The coffee is definitely not as strong as some of the coffees that we get in the US, although some British people will definitely argue with me about that. The food portions are tiny by comparison, and the weather is definitely much more unpredictable, but for some reason, I just wouldn't trade it for the world. I love living here in the UK, despite all of these things that I've had to adjust in my mindset and all of these myths I had to overcome while living here. Some Americans just love romanticizing Great Britain, but the truth is it's smaller, it's a bit slower, and it's definitely quieter than you would ever imagine. But guess what? That's exactly why life works so much better here. So, curious about what you all think of any of these. If you're a native British person, what's an American myth about your country that drives you absolutely crazy? And if you're an American watching this, what's one thing about the UK that you wish was true and maybe you found out wasn't? And subscribe if you want some more reality checks about what it's really like living here in the UK. Catch you guys in the next one.
I would absolutely agree, bro. Like, your friend, like those that you love, that you know well, that you are comfortable with, that know you, when that relationship is tight, bro, you are definitely gonna joke around, you're gonna clown, you're gonna be sarcastic, you're gonna do all of that. But with people that you don't know or aren't as tight with, you're not sure how they're gonna take it in a sense. So you might hold back a little bit on the sarcasm, on the jokes, on doing all that you until you get that into that relationship where they know like you're not serious. Like this is I'm just messing with you. I absolutely love that. But yeah, I love that. And then she's like, yeah, in the UK, I mean, the weather's unpredictable. It is smaller. It is all this, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I love that because so much of us here get so stuck on an American dream, myself included, for so long. We get stuck on this idea of an American dream or the house with the white picket fence, with the cars in the driveway, with all, and it's like, so, do you really want that? Or do you want that because someone told you that's what you want? Because once I look around at my life that I have now, I don't have the biggest bank account. I don't have multiple cars. I don't have the biggest house in the world. But I'm so thankful and happy with everything that I do have. And so I think a lot of us have to stop thinking about an American dream that they're trying to sell us and figure out what's your dream. What is your dream? What will, what would fulfill you? Like stop thinking that you need all this stuff to be happy. Look around at what you have. Be grateful. I thank God every day for everything that I do have, for the things that I am blessed with. And I realize like I don't need everything else that they're trying to sell us on. So stop being disappointed if you're not reaching this American dream that they're trying to sell you. That's a dream they're trying to sell you. Figure out what your dream is. For her, it's the UK. For her, she wouldn't trade that for the world. She's living the life that she wants to live. For me, it's right here with my family. I'm living the life that I want to live. Figure out what that is for you. That's all we have. I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. Give the video a thumbs